Slava Isusu Christu. Glory be to Jesus Christ. Today's Gospel reading is well known. It's Matthew's account of the Great Judgment. That might sound a little terrifying, but as we shall see, perhaps not as terrifying as we think. Today, Meatfare Sunday, is the last Sunday before Lent begins next week. We read of the Great Judgment from the Gospel of Matthew to prepare ourselves for Lent. The central theme here is actually Christian love, or as someone once put it, the possible impossibility. That's a nice way of putting forward the difficulty of loving. We should not understand this reading entirely as a parable. The only aspect of a parable appears in the section where the shepherd separates the sheep and the goats. The rest is a dramatic discourse, an account of what will take place when the Son of Man finally institutes judgment. We may not embrace the depiction of eschatological rewards and punishments in the literal language of Matthew, derived from the apocalyptic worldview of his time. We understand things a little differently. Don't be surprised, though, when you meet some Christians who today inhabit that ancient worldview. That's fine. But what is absolutely essential here is Matthew's teaching that mercy leads to life, while its opposite leads to exclusion from the banquet of life. This is an inescapable fact of that gospel. Judgment is delivered according to the performance or non-performance of the works of mercy, 6 of which are cited over and over by the judge in this account. Let me remind you of the 6 works of mercy. You may have learnt them in your catechism days, but here they are. Feeding the hungry, giving the thirsty something to drink, welcoming the stranger, clothing the naked, caring for the sick, visiting the imprisoned. These works fulfill the law of God, the God who wants mercy, not sacrifice. I want to spend the rest of my time commenting on the 3rd work in particular, welcoming the stranger. We might not think that welcoming the stranger is even a work of mercy, and I would bet that it's not preached on very often either. But what got me going on this was that over the last few days I was gifted with a book about our church, the Ukrainian Greek Catholic Church in Canada. The book is in English. It's only a small piece. Its title is Strangers in a Strange Church: New Faces of Ukrainian Catholicism in Canada. Well, the book broaches the question, what happens when a non-Ukrainian joins the Ukrainian Catholic Church? I guess I can witness to some of that, but I'm not telling my story. I want to tell the story of what's in that book and perhaps encourage you to think about it. 9 people tell their stories in this book. They are young, much younger than me, and engaged in their parishes, and passionate about the lifestyle of a Ukrainian Catholic. They have truly found a new home in our church. Now, on the back of the book, as on all books, there are some comments. And Father Andriy Shirovsky, who is the director and founder of the Sheptytsky Institute in Canada, says this: "The book illustrates the self-evident but frequently forgotten truth that while rooted in Ukraine, the Ukrainian Greco-Catholic Church is obviously a church for people of all backgrounds." You've heard the Patriarch say similar things, I'm sure. He continues, "Otherwise it becomes just one more ethnic organisation with a religious veneer." Those are pretty strong words coming from a Ukrainian priest with a lot of experience of these things. Well, much more is contained in the book, and we could spend quite a lot of time talking about it. Maybe someday somebody will choose to put together a book about the experience of Australian non-Ukrainians who have joined us, because there are many of them in our community through marriage and other connections with our church. Initially, the welcome we offer the stranger is a work of mercy which will strengthen our church community as it grows in grace and love. So all I say is, we are a very welcoming church. We've learnt to do it, and we do it very inclusively. So let's continue to do it and open our arms to the stranger who walks through the door. Slava Isusu Christu.